Happy St. Patrick's Day. And if you've seen Betty, you know it's St. Patrick's Day. And Linda, too, but she's hiding. And welcome to our service for Sunday, March 17th, 2024. And greetings to our online family. Thank you for joining us today, and we'd love to support your spiritual path. So please reach out to us either in person or online. As we prepare our consciousness for the Easter experience, we focus our attention on the space where our divinity and humanity are one. Today, we contemplate this mystical connection as we welcome Reverend John Beerman as a ministerial candidate. Okay, so it's St. Patrick's, so we're lucky to have him here. Because here's a little bit about Reverend John. He graduated from Unity School of Divinity in June of 2015. He's a teacher, writer, inspirational speaker, loving husband, and father. Reverend John conveys the unity truth principles by sharing from his heart and by being as transparent as possible. Before going into full-time ministry, Reverend John worked as an employee benefit advisor for the American Council of Engineers and served as a member of the National Health Insurance Association when the Affordable Care Act was passed into law. His passion in ministry is transformation through centering prayer, meditation, and community service. John is married to Charlotte Garrett, licensed, there she is. She's a licensed Unity teacher. She's a retired civil servant and was chief of resources at U.S. Air Force Space Command in Colorado Springs. John and Charlotte have 4 children, 9 grandchildren, and they enjoy hiking, CrossFit, pickleball, and spending time with family and God. Welcome, Reverend John and Charlotte. We're excited to have you with us today and look forward to spending time after the service to get to know you both. Now, let's stand and join Bob Slater, Curtis Sprengel, Jeff Stockey, and Bruce Wayne to sing our welcome song.
Today, I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing prayer today. I'm choosing prayer today. I am walking the road of prayer right now, singing, I'm choosing prayer today. I'm choosing wisdom today. I'm choosing wisdom today. I am walking the road of wisdom right now, singing, I'm choosing wisdom today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. And I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing, I'm choosing heaven today.
Thank you. Please join as we affirm our statement of faith. Together is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And now let's unite our spirits as we hold this vision for our church. Together, we are open in spiritual community, powerfully transforming our world by honoring the sacred in all. And we practice this mission together, inspired by our shared spiritual awakening. We offer practical teachings that empower healthy, abundant, and meaningful living. Today's daily word reading is prayer. And the affirmation is, I feel the presence and power of God as I pray. In the Revealing World, Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore described prayer as the most highly accelerated mind action known. This awareness is my comfort and assurance as I release my worldly concerns and feel the presence of God. As I pray, I immerse myself in the science so I can be still and know from this place of deep communion. I relax and focus my attention on the divine ideas of life, love, wisdom, strength, and order, which are always mine to claim. As these spiritual truths flourish in my consciousness, thoughts of my troubles and worries fade from my mind. In the past, I may have prayer was a way of asking God for help and solace. Now I understand it's one of the best ways of helping and uplifting myself. And from Psalms 46:10, be still and know that I am God. And now with our gathering prayer is Nick Jovicini. Good
morning, everybody. Good morning. And happy St. Patrick's Day. I've actually adapted a portion of today's prayer from a prayer of St. Patrick's known as St. Patrick's breastplate. So let's join in prayer. I invite you to close your eyes and join me as we open our hearts and minds to the living Spirit of truth. There are times where it feels like the experience we have of you, O God, are but distant memories. We forget what it feels like to experience true connection to the divine Spirit that resides within us, that moves through us. In our misremembering, we wonder if we'll ever feel that connection again. We busy ourselves, avoiding the pain which arises from this perceived separation. Today, as we pause, as we breathe, we open our hearts and minds to remember the moments, the glimpses, which have shown us the reality of this truth, that we are connected to you, intricately woven into the very Spirit of God, that here, now, past, present, and future, that God, you are with us, that we are experiencing you here and now. Christ's Spirit with me, Spirit behind me, Spirit before me, Spirit beside me, Spirit to win me, to comfort me and restore me, Spirit beneath me, Spirit above me, Spirit in quiet, Spirit in danger, Spirit in the hearts of all that love me, Spirit in the mouth of friend or stranger. God, you express as us and bond with us and through us. We know that you are near. We pray knowing that our experience is one of true connection to the heart, mind, and soul of God. In this moment, we allow ourselves to remember. We open our hearts, our minds, and the entirety of our being, receptive to the living Spirit of truth here and now. As we seek, may we find a deeper union, a deeper conscious connection, and a deeper experience of your divine beauty and the divine beauty of all that is. Amen. And so it is.
Oh, how I want to flow like the waves upon the sea, and let my thoughts dissolve into the mystery. bathe in the sound of Mother Nature's wonder, as they go headstrong into the eye of the thunder. Oh, I want to find that groove that makes you move your feet, and in the moonlight we be dancing to job beats. The night breezes will blow our cares away, and we will be as children until another day. Oh, I want to be a part of this brand new day, where love reigns supreme and kindness becomes the way, where we pick up the pieces and start all over again, and build a world that we can all live in. Well, this may sound like a distant fantasy, but I know that dreams can become reality. So why are we here on this beautiful planet Earth? To awaken to the now and see what life is worth. To awaken to the now and see what life is worth. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Really enjoyed that. I almost came out and grabbed Charlotte and started dancing a little cha-cha. That was delightful. And we appreciate everyone being here. We're honored to be a part of this Sunday celebration this morning. It's really great to be with you. We're both honored to be here. I said to Charlotte last night, I wondered if we could get here a little early and attend the kirtan, chanting back and forth. And sure enough, we got here early, and I am so blown away from that experience. That was wonderful. Now, I didn't hear I didn't understand everything that was said. It was something about scrambled eggs and pizza, something. But every now and then they'd say, Jay! And I thought, oh, they're asking me to do something. I thought, no, it's not. Jay! Okay. But interestingly enough, I had a dream that I could be part of a unity community where they had the call and response, the chanting, and have a real love for the Eastern philosophy and the Eastern religions and the whole 9 yards. And I'll tell you more about it as we go into service today. And the title of my service is The Mystical Experience. And, what does that mean to you? Have any of you had what you might call a mystical experience? All right, wonderful. If we have time, we might have one or two of you share a little bit toward the end of the service. What is mysticism? What does it mean to have a mystical experience? The reason I brought this topic up, it was the last talk actually I gave before I graduated from ministerial school. Wasn't that all long ago, 10 years or so? But I got interested in it in ministerial school because if you start looking, and I'm sure many of you are fondly aware of this, that most all of the major religions and movements in our world have been created by someone who has had a mystical experience. That seems to be the fuel. If you think about Paul, on the way to Damascus, and he got knocked off his horse. He had such a mystical experience. And Jesus up on Mount Haran and his mystical experience. And you think about Muhammad in the cave meditating and his mystical experience to form the Islam religion. And then you think about Siddhartha meditating under the Bodhi tree for 80 days. He had a mystical experience and became the Buddha. And it goes on and on. We're going to talk about more of these today. Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. were both mystics. And Charles, in particular, was known as the American mystic. And he coined the phrase practical mysticism, which I'm going to be talking about today. So when you think about it, what is a mystical experience? Well, in relationship to God, it's a direct encounter with God is what it is. It's a direct knowingness of supreme power. And we're going to be talking today about 4 characteristics of the mystical experience, which are in William James' book, Varieties of Religious Experiences. 4 common denominators. But first, I want to tell you a little story about a student I had at one time, because mysticism is very much related to oneness. Now, Reverend Linda mentioned oneness last week. Fortunately, in the English language, words can have a varied number of meanings. Her meaning, I believe, was that it's relationship between our divine nature and our physical nature. The oneness I'm going to be talking about today is the relationship between us and the divine. When we are fully one with divine, and that it becomes a mystical experience. So I had a student, and this was years ago, and she was really, really doing well. Very, very intelligent young lady. And in unity, and she was doing great with all the principles of unity and what have you. But when it came to oneness, she said, frankly, Reverend John, I just don't get oneness. And I've thought about that a lot. And at that time, I was at a loss as to what to say. And now I would have an answer. Because she was very, very bright. And to understand oneness, you have to go beyond the intellect. You have to get to that point of understanding from a heart center nature, from our heart. It's an awareness from our heart. The mind cannot comprehend oneness. It just can't. And the mind really can't comprehend a mystical experience. It really can't. When a mystical experience happens to you, it's so powerful that there's no explanation. You can't tell somebody about it, expect them to understand. You can tell people about it, but they may not understand it. So this young lady, we'll call her Pat, didn't understand oneness. And eventually I think she got it, that it's beyond our mind's ability to understand it, and it is a direct relationship with the divine. I want to read to you the best explanation that I have ever found regarding oneness. And here's a quote from Meister Eckhart. Now, Meister is not his first name. Meister Eckhart got the name Meister because he graduated with a master's degree. He was a Catholic priest and lived in the 13th century. And if you start talking about mystics, he's going to be the number one person you're going to mention is Meister Eckhart. And here's this quote, and I want you to kind of allow this to sink in. I may even read it twice. The eye through which I see God is the same eye through which God sees me. My eye and God's eye are one eye. One seeing, one knowing, and one love. The eye through which I see God is the same eye through which God sees me. My eye and God's eye are one. One seeing, one knowing, one love. So this idea of oneness is very much related to the mystical experience. Because when you're in a mystical experience, you're in oneness. You're enveloped in the divine. You know, sometimes we don't understand our heart center, our heart nature. So what is it that is unique about the heart center? And I think that most of us in unity correct me if I'm wrong, are attempting or striving to live from our heart center, are we not? Isn't that what we're trying to do? Most of us are pretty smart. We have an intellect and we know things and we can Charlotte is my example. If I need to know something, I can just ask Charlotte. She can give me she knows things. And she can also live, though, through her heart center. So our heart center is this power, and it's your intuition for certain, but it's more than that because it includes our conscious and our subconscious minds. So the heart center is our connection with spirit. So during a mystical experience, you're connected with the divine through your heart center. And your heart center opens up widely. Now, I'll tell you real quick my experience. I was going to wait a little bit, but I want to share it now. When I was a young man, I think 5 or 6 years old, just a wee lad, we lived in Bradenton, Florida. I think that's where Reverend Linda lives now. So I was in my bedroom was off a hallway, and it was an inside bedroom, and at night, I was having these terrible nightmares. And what they were about are these giants that would come down the hallway, and they'd come down the hallway, and then they'd stop and look into my room. As a little boy, I was terrified. Sometimes I'd wake up. So one night I woke up from this dream and went across the hallway to the bathroom and looked out the window in the bathroom. And facing me was this radiant face, Indian woman, and her third eye was exposed. That third eye was beaming into my heart, just beaming into my heart. And I didn't know what that meant at that time, and I went back to bed, though, and I was able to go to sleep. And I'm not saying that all my nightmares went away, they didn't, but I never had that terror anymore. I never had that supreme terror anymore that I had at first. And what that dream has meant to me over the years is that those giants represented all the major problems that were going to come my way in my lifetime. And they have. Okay? And they have. But through the heart center, through that loving kindness, that connection with heart, we can overcome anything in our lives. We can overcome absolutely anything. Now, we get in disputes sometimes with our intellect. I do. Imagine you do. And the intellect wants to kind of control things, right? The intellect says, oh, you're foolish. You're doing something silly. But I think the more we learn to live from our heart center, that field of awareness, it's a field really, of awareness. When we can live from that, we'll be directed to only the best in our lives, only the highest for our good. So let's talk a little bit about those 4 commonalities of the mystical experience that William James pointed out for us. The first one is inaffability. Not laughability, but inaffability, which simply means you can't explain it in words. No words can describe it. If you've had a mystical experience, and I know a bunch of you have, and part of this talk is about opening us more to the mystical experience. And seeing it almost like last night at 2:30 in the morning, I awoke to a tremendous thunderstorm in our neighborhood. I don't know about you. And it was kind of a mystical experience. And what I'm saying to you is the point of this lesson is we can be open to a mystical experience and use it in our lives to benefit our lives. It doesn't have to be some major, profound experience that you start a new revolution or you start a new movement. That may happen, but it can be something small in your life. It gives you courage. Part of the issue in having a mystical experience is overcoming those self-limitations that we've been told we had. Self-limitations. Some of us have felt, Myrtle Fillmore, for example, she felt that she was limited by her bodily illness. She knew she had tuberculosis. She knew that her family had told her body was weak, that she was going to be a sickly all her life. But she had a mystical experience when she heard those words. You are a child of God. You don't inherit sickness. I can almost see her, hearing that and then having that experience that propelled her into starting a silent prayer movement, silent unity. So ineffability, you can't really explain it. What's the second one? The second one, it has a certain noetic quality. You see, a spiritual experience or a mystical experience has a noetic quality. There's this knowledge that becomes imparted in you from that experience, as I described for mine. Now, Eckhart Tolle, as a young man and I know you all are familiar with Eckhart Tolle, written Power of Now and A New Earth, Stillness Speaks. We actually were fortunate to see him on our honeymoon in Hawaii, and an incredible man. So, as a young man, he was in Cambridge University in England, and he got disenchanted. He was very bright, obviously, and he's doing quite well, but he got disenchanted. What is this? It's not doing anything for me. This is not giving me what I'm looking for in my life. So he dropped out, and he became depressed. He was very depressed. And so he was in his apartment one night, and he had even got so depressed that he thought about ending it all. And suddenly he had this thought who is it that's observing these suicidal thoughts that I'm having? Who is it that's observing those thoughts? Well, there's this thought that I'm having, but some power, some strength beyond my own is observing these thoughts, and I'm separate from them. That is not who I am. I am not these thoughts down here. Myrtle Fillmore realized, I am not that ill person. He realized, I'm not this depressed person. There's this higher source, this divine, he ends up now calling God beingness. There's this beingness that's observing me. And he went to sleep. He went right to sleep. Lived in an apartment. He got up in the morning, went to the window, and he looked out, and everything looked fresh and clean, like it had rained, like it's raining here. And it was so clean and fresh, and there's this sparkle. His experience was so powerful, he ended up sitting on a park bench for about 2 years. Just observing. Kind of like Forrest Gump, when Forrest was telling his story. He was sitting on that park bench just observing life. And, wow, life is wonderful. Life is mysterious. Life is beautiful. How great it is to be alive. And today now he's, I guess, some people say the most spiritual person alive. But so it's that noetic quality. He had that knowing that he, in fact, was not those depressing thoughts. The other unfortunate number 3 is the spiritual experience or the mystical experience is transient. This is the part I don't like. It doesn't last forever. You can't go into like a mystical experience and stay there for the rest of your life. Now, if you come to chanting, every Sunday morning, you're going to have it for at least 45 minutes, right? But generally speaking, it doesn't last. His was very rare that it lasted that long. And I think, Saul on the way to Damascus, Paul changed his name. I think he was blind for like 2 or 3 days and, sat around in the town trying to figure out what was going on. He finally came to his senses. But typically, they last for, maybe, a few minutes at most, maybe a few seconds. That's all you need is that encounter with the divine. And my theory is that if we as individuals, truth students, can be more aware of that, we can have more of those. We can see more of those in the sunsets and in the sunrises. We can see more of that in our grandchildren and in, someone who's making their transition when you hold their hand. You can have that mystical experience, knowing that they're moving on to another experience. That's the basis for this lesson. And the last, of course, the last one is passivity. Now, what he means by that is that when we're in a mystical experience, we have no control. It doesn't mean we start, like we would maybe in chanting or something. But it doesn't mean you start shaking or anything, but you could, I suppose. But what it means is you're not in control. Now, I know we don't have any control freaks at Unity of Wimberley. I know that for a fact. I've been told. But truth is, when you're in a mystical experience, it's very powerful. And you're just sort of going along with it. And think of all the wonderful things that have come out of it, such as Course in Miracles. How about conversations with God? How about Michelangelo when he was painting the Sistine Chapel? Do you think he wasn't maybe in a mystical experience to be able to do something like that? I choose to think he is or was. The beauty that comes out of art and science and music when someone's in that mystical space. It's wonderful. It contrasts with what you read in the Wall Street Journal or the New York Times. It's a contrast to what you hear on the evening news. Every now and then they'll throw something in there at the end that something good happened, but generally speaking, it's a contrast. So it's that passivity. You are actually, during a mystical experience, suspended in the arms of a universal power. So I honestly think, too, that through our meditation and prayer, we can prepare ourselves for that mystical experience. And we can, certainly if you've had one and you recall it, like I do with mine, I'm kind of back there. I'm not having another mystical experience, but I'm kind of back there, if you will. I'm enjoying the fruits of that mystical experience. So whatever the mystical experience is that you've had, you can enjoy it for the rest of your life, one day at a time. You can enjoy that experience. So I want to close with a poem. There is probably time if one or two of you would like to come up, and there is time that if one or two of you would like to come up and share briefly your mystical experience, I would dearly love to hear it. So I'll give you a minute to think about, is Spirit calling you to come up? I know we have I guess you could use this mic right here. Got one right here. Got one right there. But I want to read this poem first. This is by Walt Whitman, one of my favorites. I believe in you, my soul. Loaf with me on the grass. Lose the stop from your throat. Only the lull I like, the hum of your valved voice. I mind how much we laid. Such a transparent summer morning. Swiftly arose and spread around me the peace and knowledge that pass all the arguments of the earth. And I know that the hand of God is the promise of my own. And that all men ever born are also my brothers, and the women my sisters and lovers. And that a kelson is the creation of love. Well, now a kelson is that big piece on a boat that holds it together, that big piece of wood that holds a wood boat together. So a kelson is the creation of my love. And I want to, if you'll bear with me, I would like to give my interpretation of that poem. And I know you've had yours, and I could send it to you if you're interested, or we could look it up together, whatever. But I want to, if I could, share my interpretation. I trust my inner light and live freely in it. I trust my inner light and I live freely in it. Spirit, be free to create what you will with me. Spirit, be free to create whatever you will with me. My only desire is to be with you fully. My only desire is to be with you fully. We are all one. We are all one. We are all created in love. We're all created in love. And we're all one, and we're all, each of us is a mystic. If you're a Unity Truth student, you're a mystic. And before meditation then, is there anyone that feels called to come up or stand where you are? She has the mic, and I would love to hear your experience.
Well, my name is Shane. I'm new here.
Hi, Shane.
Couldn't help but share this experience. I'll give you a little context. In May of 2019, I found myself in a hospital. I was there for 65 days. I had a 20-hour surgery in which I actually died in the OR. They did CPR on me for 4 minutes. This wasn't the mystical experience. Unfortunately, I didn't even have the near-death experience. That was the dark night of the soul. Fast forward a year and a half later, I found myself in Costa Rica in a Maloca at a healing center with 100 other people doing breath work. Now, I dabbled in some breath work before, but there's 100 of us that are breathing deep and rhythmically. And I was experiencing a lot of weird sensations in my body as I'm going, but about the 30 to 45 minute mark, you lose track of time. Two visions appeared to me, just with my eyes closed. First was a pair of blue eyes. I knew immediately they were wolf eyes, like a divine watcher was watching over me. And then all of a sudden, in the darkness, multiple blue eyes just appeared. And so I knew something was happening. I'm beginning to experience some wild sensations in my body. And then, at about 10 minutes after that, a lion appeared. Now, I say a lion, think Aslan, think lion from the tribe of Judah. I don't know what this lion was, but I knew, you talk about losing control, I knew if I continued in this breath, I was going to lose control. Something big was about to happen. And so I began to experience the same pain that incapacitated me and put me in the hospital for 65 days in a foreign country in my abdomen. And I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? And I just continued in the breath work, and I began to cry. This is when I really began to realize that I'd stored a lot of pain and energy in my abdomen, in my sacrum. And as I continued to breathe, the facilitator came along, and they could sense that I was in this deep, intense struggle. And through that deep rhythmic breath, the pain manifested right where it was, where my pancreas was. And so through the breath, I was able to move that energy from there to my chest, to my throat. And then in this group together, 100, it's like it was this perfect time where we let out this scream, and I could literally feel that pain leave my body in that moment. And after that, I mean, I'm sweating, and
Yeah.
it was a very intense experience, but that's
Thank
my
you.
mystical experience.
Thank you. Anyone else? One more, maybe two more. One more at least.
I'm not going to stand. My mystical experience happened when I was 21 years old. And all my life, really, I have always felt a oneness, since even as a child, 4 or 5 years old. But anyway, this was like the big one that has sustained me all my life. So I'm living with several people on a piece of land, trust fund babies, and young women. And I had known a woman, and I didn't know at the time, but she was gay and extremely beautiful, very rich. And we were friends. And she committed suicide. She, up on the hill, she just got into her car and put some rags in the exhaust pipe and passed away. And it hit me pretty hard. And she left a note saying, you know, none of us knew she was a lesbian at that time, but that she was, and it was too hard for her to bear. So anyway, about a week later, I was sitting on my campsite and thinking about why can't people just love and be loved?
Yeah.
And I was hoping that I had never said anything to her that would have made her feel rejected,
Yeah.
because I was unconscious of some of the things, you know, at 21 years old, you say things. Anyway, my heart just felt really full. And soon I started feeling a presence next to me, to my left. And I felt like it was Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And I could feel his heart too, feeling the same thing, you know, God's love, just saying, why can't you love? I'm here for you. I'm here with you. And I could feel it in my heart, and my heart exploded, and I was sobbing. And I felt light all around me. And I looked up into the light, and I couldn't see my body. I couldn't see the trees. I couldn't see the ground. Wow. And I don't even remember when it stopped or what happened, but I woke up in my sleeping bag. And it was like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
Mm-hmm.
And so I really feel like I'm a lucky person. All my life I've had a lot of struggles. I'm perfectly healthy. It's so funny, but my
glad you're here.
my foundation, I have a rheumatoid arthritis, and it's an autoimmune disease. And because of these experiences that I've had from my early childhood, you can't talk to people about it, so I would suppress it. It's like self-hatred, right? Autoimmune disease, that's what I think. You're stopping yourself from being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So I finally realized, man, I can't do this anymore. God just showed me, and he did.
Wow.
Or the presence of God showed me.
It's really nice. Thank
It
you.
is, it's beautiful. And
Thank you.
I'm 76, I don't know how many more years I have, but I feel like I need to tell people that they can do this too, that it's within our reach, all of us,
Yes,
that we
thank
can
you.
be that humble and that vulnerable and that strong,
Thank you.
you know. Thank you very much.
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one other, that my mentor in Colorado, June, has, and it's very short. She was a young lady, and she actually was Miss Alaska at one. She lived in Alaska, and she was a Unity minister. She had an experience in surgery where the words came to her, the two shall become one. The two shall become one. And this is what we're talking about with the oneness. The two. You and God become one. You can't figure that out in your mind. Your mind is useless. But when you can experience that division melts away and you realize, hey, we're one. God and I are one. What a beautiful, beautiful experience. And thank you both for sharing. Why don't we go into meditation right now? And as we do, just get comfortable in your chair. Take some deep breaths. Maybe have both feet solidly on the floor. And I like to try to keep my spine straight if possible. And take some deep cleansing breaths in through the nose. And then releasing. Just beginning that cycle of life. Breathing in and releasing. And we might start by just affirming together that we are children of God. Can we say that? We are children of God. That childlike God resides in all of us. And what a beautiful morning to let that child play. What a beautiful morning to experience the oneness, to experience the love, to experience forgiveness. To experience peace. Just breathe into that understanding that we are one, that we are children of God. And we play on this playground of earth, and we fall and we scrape and we get boo-boos on our knees and our shins and our elbows. But the love of God is there to pick us up and dust us off and put us back together again. So that we can move forward then, knowing God and I are one. God, you and God are one. What more could there be than that? What more could there be? So let's just take a moment now in silence. And we gently and lovingly come back to this outer experience. As if we are awakening from a dream. As we move forward, we are no longer burdened by the things of this earth, that we can arise and be mighty in our spiritual armor and to know the truth that God sets us free and that we are one. And so it is. Amen.
Wow, that was powerful. Thank you so much. Now, with grateful hearts, we put our abundance into action as we complete the sacred circle of giving and receiving. Let us take a moment to bring this truth into our hearts as we prepare our offerings and as our ushers come forward. And to our beloved online family, if this message supports your spiritual growth, please consider making us part of your abundance practice. And for all giving options, please scan the QR code on the screen. We thank you for the gifts you have sent already and affirm the gifts you're sending now. And now let us offer this affirmation of abundance together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Do your words come from your heart, or do they come from your head? If you can't feel the joy and the sorrow, your instincts are not fed. There's only now, as we fade into eternal flow, life is to live in the glories of nature's show. In this ever unfolding now, we can see what is true, resonating in the heart, spiritual virtue is only now, as we fade into eternal flow. Life is to live in the wonders of nature's glow.
Thank you. With full hearts, let us bless these gifts together. We bless these gifts and the givers. with our love and gratitude. And let us affirm from this holy instant the clear path and perfect manifestation of our new minister. Together, God's infinite love and wisdom now guide us to the right and perfect spiritual leader for our community. We let the activity of the one mind reveal this divine appointment as we unite in our gratitude for our new minister. Amen. Join us next Sunday as we welcome Carly Bruno with her talk, Finding Safety in the Divine. And after the service, we welcome Schoolyard Dogs food bus in our parking lot selling some after-service lunch. Please make plans to stay as we support our favorite local nonprofit. As we mentioned before, please plan to stay after the service today for a new ministerial candidate, meet and greet with Reverend John and his wife Charlotte in the sanctuary. We do have childcare available for parents that want to stay. We'll have some light snacks to keep us going as we hear about Reverend John's background, experience, and thoughts moving forward. That was so powerful. Okay, we have the opportunity to ask questions as well, and as to pass along our feedback on a written and online questionnaire. Flower bed cleanup will be next Saturday, March 23rd from 8:30 to 11 as we get our sacred ground some loving care. Please reach out to Andrea Ballantyne. I didn't see, is she here? There she is. Okay. If you have any questions. If you plan to attend our Unity Eclipse watch party, or the Uniclips, Monday, April 8th, please register online, even if you filled out the survey that you plan to attend. We still need you to register. You can find the registration link on the events page on our website. Unity Share Your Skill Workshop has another offering in April. Scott Price is going to share Gardening 101 with us on Saturday, April 13th from noon to 2 p.m. Sign up by clicking this QR code. There it is, okay? Or on the events page on our website, or just show up. You can reach out to Scott with any questions. Grow and Learn with Unity's Wednesday book study group from 11:30 to 1:30, and look for our weekly midday reflection videos on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook on Thursdays. We also invite you to experience kirtan chanting every Sunday morning before the service at 10 a.m. down the hall from the business office. As always, we're collecting crisis food basket food donations on our front foyer bookcase. You can always send a monetary donation directly to them to the address listed on the screen. Reach out for prayer and care support to the email addresses on the screen. Check our website event page often for all upcoming classes, groups, and events. A reminder that Nick Giovacchini will be here to pray with you after the service. Our prayer request box and gratitude jar are on the fireside room buffet, and if you're visiting today, please consider filling out a blue information card located on the front foyer table so we can welcome you properly. Now, let's sing in our kits.
You are alive, you are alive, you are alive in this world. You are alive, you are alive, you are alive in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright.
Now, before we bless our children, we want to wish a very happy 22nd birthday to YFM teacher Ben Pearson. Happy birthday to you. Okay, children and youth of Unity, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you just the way you are. And that brings us to the close of our service. Please join us as we pray our prayer of protection. Light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
I really